Electric feel is in my bones, in my bones, in my bones. Pay me color, make me glow, make me glow, make me glow. Shine like diamonds, bright as gold, bright as gold, bright as gold. Let those good vibrations flow, vibrations flow. I got that glow. I got that glow. I got a feeling like gold, gold. I got a feeling like gold. I'm gonna do it my own. I'm gonna do it my own. Misbehave and elevate and take it up a notch. I'm going up these levels, gonna show you what I got.
I'm Kris Fant, and 3 words I'd use to describe myself: fun-loving, compassionate, and spontaneous. I think it was when I was a kid and I watched movies like Karate Kid and Lost Boys, and I saw the motorcycles in there and they just looked really fun. But then there was a long delay in actually ever pursuing that. Nobody in my family rode. I didn't really know anybody who rode. So it was actually my now husband's and I first date. I got on the back of his motorcycle and I fell in love with motorcycling and I fell in love with him. And so that was convenient. I started on a quad for like 2 rides and then I got a dirt bike and slowly progressed into street riding and dual sporting. My very first time on trails on a dirt bike, I injured myself pretty badly. And so fear has actually been the biggest thing that I've had to overcome. So I spent a lot of time on the dirt going way too slow, which doesn't give you any balance on the bike and makes you work really hard. And then I didn't get any real practice because after 2 miles I was exhausted. So I spent a lot of time like trying to learn to overcome fear. So to overcome fear, one of the things that I really used was, I'm a mental health counselor as my profession, and I teach a lot of meditation. And so I started to use meditation both off my bike, visualizing what was going on and helping my fight-flight system calm back down and relax. And then I started using it when I was on the bike, not closing my eyes or anything like that, because that'd probably be dangerous. But I did really use those same skills of breathing, really concentrating on safety, concentrating on feeling good. And I think the other thing that I did, and I'm really grateful for my husband for this, is we would go ride anything that started to challenge me. We would ride that same section over and over and over until it was easy, and then move on to the next hard thing. So I got to really learn what skills worked for me and how it felt. Just do it. Motorcycling has brought me so much. Like, I had no idea that it was going to become my all-time favorite thing to do. It has become everything as far as my friend group. All my volunteer activities are included with motorcycling now, and I just feel completely free and happy and joyful on the bike. So I love doing it, and I love being able to give back to the community.
What are some ways motorcycles help you outside of riding?
Motorcycles, gosh, outside of riding, I feel like I am a different person now than when I started riding. So I feel, hard to explain, there's a little bit more just confidence, empowerment. I feel more like myself, like the self I was always supposed to be. I've always had this really adventurous spirit. So finding a way to nurture that has been awesome, and finding a way to nurture that with my husband and I as our partnership has been really one of the best things I could ever imagine.
Where are your favorite places to ride, or the most impactful trip?
One of my favorite places to ride was Utah. I had been teaching an art class and saw a picture of Bryce Canyon, and so that became my bucket list. It was so beautiful. And I have this weird relationship with red dirt. I love red dirt. And so I wanted to go to Utah and started riding motorcycles, and we ended up going to Utah. And it was just, I don't even know how to describe, the beauty there is so different. The giant pillars of red rocks and the roads, there's dirt roads everywhere. It's phenomenal. There's a piece of me that always feels like Utah is like another home to me, even though I've never lived there. I think the most impactful trip that I've taken, though, was the California backcountry discovery route. We did that this year, and I did it with quite a bit of trepidation because it's mostly sand and mostly rocks for 850 miles. And I think 2 of my biggest challenges in riding have been sand and rocks. So we did a lot of training leading up to the trip. We did a lot of bike prep, and then we'd go out and ride on sand, and I would fall and get hurt. Not terribly hurt, but I'd be scared. It'd be hard to ride. And I'd ride on rocks. And honestly, we got down there to the Yuma border, and the Yuma, California border, Arizona, California border, and rode into Piaggio State Park, and the road is just really slightly sandy, and I just my heart dropped. I'm like, I'm gonna be doing this for 850 miles? Like, this is insane. What have I gotten myself into? But I slept, and I woke up, and it was all okay, and I did it. And it was another piece of this transformation into really feeling like I'm becoming the rider I want to be, and I'm becoming more of the person I'm meant to be. My dream trip tends to change depending on the day that you ask me. I've always wanted to explore Africa on a motorcycle since at least I've been riding, mostly because it feels more wild, uncharted, remote than anywhere else in the world I can go. At the same time, I have been really in love with riding in the Pacific Northwest and getting to know my own area more intimately. We just did the Oregon Backcountry Discovery Route, and it was so much fun to explore parts of Oregon I had never been to. I still have a list of places in Oregon I haven't seen. So I think in many ways, my dream trip is to just explore Oregon as deeply as I can. I think one of my biggest inspirations is actually my husband, because he's 7 years ahead of me. He's been riding motorcycles longer. And he's an excellent, amazing rider and just makes it always look so easy. And when I started riding, I was surrounded by a whole bunch of guys who rode like that. And I started, as I said, I had a lot of fear and I struggled a lot. And I started to wonder, is this something that girls do? I think I had met a couple girls on the trail, but nobody consistent. It was always me and 14 guys, and they were always picking up my bike. And I started looking at books because I'm a book lover. And I found Liz Janssen's Women, Motorcycles, and the Road to Empowerment. And that book was really pivotal because it's a collection of stories of women who started riding anywhere from age 2 to age 80. And some of them it was really easy, and some of them it was really hard. And it gave me all these role models to look towards. So I adore Liz Janssen and that she put that book together and all the people in it. Around that same time, I also was on the forums and I found Steph Javons from England. And she was about to set off on a round the world trip and on a little tiny CRF 250L. And I was just delighted to hear about this woman riding by herself, because at that point in my life, that wasn't something that was normal or that I knew about. So I reached out to her, told her when she got to the Northwest, she had to come stay with me, and just followed her trip the whole way. And when she got to Portland, I put together a little presentation space and invited people to it to help support her trip. And it was great. It got to raise some money for her, got to spread the word about her journey, and she's super inspiring. She's really down to earth. She had a lot of struggles on the trip, and she was really raw and honest and authentic. And I really appreciate that she's still that role model in my life where she's following her passion. Oh boy, proud moments and best achievements. I feel like every little thing that I do feels like a big achievement. Things that maybe I don't even know, may not be that big to other people, but I remember there's Baby Head Hill is one of the ones on the Washington Backcountry Discovery Route. It's a long, steep uphill with these, they call them baby heads, they're big old rocks, and you're going uphill for a long time and you make a left turn and there's 3 steps, and I swear, I remember riding that since I first started dual sporting, because for some reason I was like, let's do the advanced route, and falling, and then, coming back another year and falling, and coming back, and then all of a sudden one year, I made it to the top. I was like, that feels amazing. And I love that feeling of getting to measure my own progress against my past. I feel like everybody's path on a motorcycle is very unique. Just the concept of ride your own ride is so important. For me, the idea of having to overcome fear, and always, even though I say ride my own ride and try to only compare my own progress against my past progress, I'm also riding with a partner who's really gifted, and so there's always a little bit of a struggle of comparing myself to him. So it's been, I think, breaking the mold really means to me having a variety of role models out there, really being honest and authentic about struggles, putting things out on social media and I don't just put my successes out, and I have good friends that also don't just put their successes out. So we're seeing each other fall and help each other, and then seeing those successes and overcoming the challenges. So I feel like for me, my path has been perhaps about fear and about overcoming fear, and that might be different than somebody else, but at the same time, we're all trying to overcome and achieve and become the best person and motorcyclist that we can be.
Break the mold about carving your own path and pushing past expectations. In what way do you break the mold?
I feel like I break the mold, partly coming from a family with the only person in my family who ever rode actually was my uncle, who fell and had a pretty significant traumatic brain injury. So I broke the family mold. It was always sort of a family story, like don't ride motorcycles. Being a woman in a sport that has primarily males, I know I was surrounded by a lot of guys when I was learning. And so it was sort of like carving my own path, doing my own thing, being okay with where I was at. I also feel like not learning when I was young. So I think I was 36 when I started riding. It's great, like I see people of all ages learning to ride, just super cool. But at the time I felt a little bit old, to be honest, as I was riding with not only guy riders, but a lot of younger folk. So it's been a lot of just carving my own path, being okay with who I was, and actually learning there's a whole range of motorcycle riders. My biggest, I think, dream would be that we don't ever have to ask the question, like, what is the mold? That we eventually don't have a mold for riders, that they come in all colors and shapes and sizes and genders. Cool.
So what's next for you this year?
Let's see, what are we doing next this year? That's probably changed. Let's see, next this year I am actually going on Carl's Mystery Ride, so I don't know where that's going to be, but it's always fun. We're going to take a bunch of people on the Washington Backcountry Discovery Route, just a little portion of it. We have some friends who've never actually been on a backcountry discovery route, so we thought that would be a cool opportunity. And I'm looking forward to, I'm going with the Revit women's team to an event in Canada in September. So I'm super looking forward to that because this is the first time all of us women will be meeting face to face.